I mean. So when you ask people, whenever they say, I believe in God, I mean, you don't believe in killing? Well, my son was in the war. Well, how can you be a Christian that says, thou shalt not kill? How can you be a Christian who says, judge not, lest you be judged? Meaning, you're not supposed to judge other people. And most people do jury duty, which you judge other people. You don't know what made them that way. You have no right to judge them. But nobody seems to understand the Bible. They say, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. In the Bible it says, Jesus was crucified, and he arose from the dead and ascended into heaven. Where's the sacrifice? Do you understand? They don't know what the hell they're reading. They don't understand the Bible. Nor do they understand the word spiritual. They don't know what it means. I'm going to try to tell you what it means. Since all nations, including Germany, France, England, Rome, every country is corrupt because they use money. Now, does that make a person corrupt? Let me show you where it makes them corrupt. If you have a way of producing vacuum cleaners 10 times faster than me, you being a good Christian, you share your ideas with me. If you do that, you lose the competitive edge. If you keep it to yourself, you can maintain the competitive edge. So you can't be a Christian or believe in God in a money system. If you're running for political office and I put up $2 million to help you get in, you got to take care of Fresco to get in. You understand that? So anybody that doesn't understand that? All systems are corrupt. And they say, well, let's see if we can patch it up here and there. You can't patch it up. Now, the next thing you're taught, there are good people and bad people. And some people are lazy, some people think a lot, some don't. All that's lies. If you were raised by the headhunters of the Amazon as a baby, you never saw any of it, you'd be a headhunter. She might say, well, you're bad. I don't say you're bad. If you're brought up that way, that's the only thing you know. How many of you know this? If you take horses out of a burning barn and you release them, they run back into the barn. Because that's all they know. That's the only security. Same with human beings. If you're brought up in a city that looks like this, you say you become attached to it. People brought up in New York, they love New York, they sing songs about it. It's a dirty, filthy city, which every building is a different size, which uses different power. All the windows are different. So if you really wanted a world where there's no trouble, no crime, I want to try to tell you this. Serial killers, murderers, thieves are made by the culture. If you don't understand that, if you have 2 children, if you play with a little one, the 3-year-old, and the 7-year-old standing there, that lower lip goes up. If you just play with a little one, so you always put the older one on your lap and the younger one. But if you give him an A in school and you a failure, you make jealousy and envy right there. That's where it comes from. You're not born jealous. There's no human nature. All that is pure bullshit. When you stroke a dog, you stroke the whole dog. You don't stop at the balls. You stroke the whole dog if you like dogs. People are so artificial. They are so artificial, they're brought up to be artificial. So when you say, what kind of country would you like? Well, that's the way it is. This is the greatest country in the world. Vive la France. Deutschland über alles. America for Americans. All that bullshit that divides people. When you think that the Germans have special characteristics, they don't. There's no such thing as German blood or Swedish blood. There's certain types of blood. You may not be able to give your own kids a blood transfusion because your blood might be different. So all this stuff, I have German blood, I have Greek blood, I'm Polish and I'm proud of it. All that separates people. If you took a Jewish baby and you raised him in Nazi Germany as a baby, Heil Hitler, Deutschland über alles, that's the way the Jewish boy would speak. You think the Jew is a certain kind of person or an Italian? Italians think I'm Italian, I'm temperamental. I'm Spanish, I'm temperamental. They're not. They're made that way. When I went to Mexico, I noticed that in the wealthy homes, every room was at a different height. So I said, why do you make every room at a different height? And they said, the devil doesn't like to walk up or down. He likes a straight surface. With a straight face, they say that. People always look up. When the Pope comes to America, he points at God, but he points the wrong way in China. Because they still think the earth is flat. So people are so mixed up, they can't work on a better world. Because when they think about things, they think as a German. When Americans think, they think as American. When the headhunter thinks, he thinks as a headhunter. And if I said to him, doesn't it bother you to have 5 shrunken heads? He says, yes, my brother has 20. Is he bad? No, that's normal to that culture. Now, if you lived in ancient Rome, I'm trying to tell you how people get to be the way they are. The Christians came into town, they said there's one God, and the Romans were brought up to believe in 25 different gods. The God of love, the God of war, the God of peace. They had all these different gods. And the Christian came in and says, one God. They said, what's the matter with you guys anyway? And they put them in an arena and they fed them to lions. They should put hundreds of Christians in there and they'd starve the lions for 1 week first, put on a good show. Then they'd take the clothing off the Christians so the lions would tear them to pieces. And all the Romans used to come Saturday and Sunday to watch Christians being fed to lions. Were they bad? Not really. It was normal to Rome. And the kids would say, Papa, can I come next week to see Christians fed to lions? If you behave yourself. Now, is the Papa cuckoo? No. It's normal to that culture. If you go to Spain today, you'll see bullfights. We may not like them, but they're brought up to like bullfights. In America, men punch each other, Jersey shaking the brains up in the cranial case, which damages all brains. But hey, there's nothing like a good fight, because we're brought up that way. The way you're brought up shapes your behavior. If you were brought up in the South in America, you'd say, I'll go get me a nigger and I'm going to kick his ass. Is that guy speaking, or is that the influence of the zone he was brought up in? Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're brought up in France, you speak like a Frenchman. Vive la France, la tour Eiffel. All of these things that you say, your facial expressions, everything, you pick up from your culture. There's no such thing as individuality. I'm going to tell you what an individual is. If you lived in France 3 years, you moved to Germany 3 years, you live in Greece 3 years, you become a little different. And that's what an individual is. A person exposed to different values. If you live in Weehawken County, Virginia, and never leave, you think like a Weehawken County. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you take 5 effeminate women, very effeminate, women move differently than men. Did I see a gorgeous hat? And they move their hands up. If you bring a boy up with 7 women, he never sees another boy, he says, I want to go too. He moves just like a girl. And they're not born that way, they're shaped that way. Vive la France is shaped that way. Good old USA, shaped that way. So all culture imprints on people. They pump crap into your head. You're a Lutheran. You don't play with that Presbyterian girl, see? And then who loves you more than anybody? As a kid, you say, I don't know, your mom and papa. So they pump all that crap. What's the greatest country in the world? I don't know. Greece, that's where you agree. So they pump that shit into your head. And after they get through with you, they say, think for yourself. How can you think for yourself? No one can think for themselves. When I was a kid, I built an airplane, a model. And I flew it, and it went clunk into the ground. And I scratched my head because I didn't know what to do. An older kid came over to me and said, Jacque, your wings are too far back, move them forward. I says, how far forward? And how do you know? He said, balance it. Hold your 2 fingers under the wing. When it's balanced, it'll fly. And I balanced it, and it flew. Now, he could have said, my plane's better than yours, and not give me any